So, unless you've been living under a rock, one of the biggest things that we have seen growing in our society over really the last 3 to 5 years is the rise of sports gambling. Now, it's really taken a kind of devious route in that it all really started out with this idea of fantasy sports gambling, right? And a lot of people would come in, if you don't know what fantasy sports are, you choose players, you get rewarded points for how well they do in a game. You get a bunch of these players together, and whichever team at the end of the day has the most points, you win. And while this is technically a form of gambling, really it's been in our society as something fun to do amongst friends, that families do with your children, to root on your favorite player. And that was something that really has grown in popularity over the years, that these new websites came out and started allowing you to place wagers in a similar format, whether it's daily fantasy sports, whether you're betting to have individual people accomplish certain things. And that has then led into what we have in the majority of states is flat out sports gambling. You can take your money, bet on someone to win or lose, and that's that, right? There's really no ways around it. There is some policing based on where you are, location-wise and the like, but there's almost nowhere that you can't go in one form or fashion and do sports gambling. So what has this brought about? What has this brought about to our society? And really, what has this brought about to many people out there that might choose and say, hey, I think sports gambling is a way to make money. I think sports gambling should almost be seen as a form of investing. And that is the most dangerous place that anyone can be. So, number one, let me say this, we'll start. Sports gambling is not investing. Okay? What is investing? When you invest money, typically let's talk about typical stock market investments, stocks and bonds. You are putting money into a company, or a company is issuing you're buying debt of a company that pays a certain interest rate. But either way, there is a return and an opportunity of good return for you to get on that investment. You are investing in many times in companies that have been around decades, almost hundreds of years, and you're betting. Excuse me, watch that. See, that's when even we're talking about that. You're not betting, you're investing, and you're getting their anticipation that they're going to grow, and thus your money is going to grow over time with it. That is not what sports gambling is. Sports gambling is a very linear. You take your money and 100% you are going to win, potentially double it or more, or you're going to lose it. You are not investing in anything. It is a transaction. It is a win or lose scenario, which is not what investing is. I think something that could seem almost as similar to this is crypto investing, right? This is something that came out of last 10 or 15 years. It's become mainstream that a lot of people that are starting their investments are starting in cryptocurrency. How this is very, very different than sports gambling is we have seen in cryptocurrency that there are tokens, primarily Bitcoin and other ones, that if you had put money in there, now over time, the value of that has grown because there's a market for these. People want to invest, they want to store their money in these investments. So crypto investing is a different form of investing. Now it carries its own risks, right? With tokens that are not as popular or as mainstream. But that's very, very different than what you have in gambling. Because in gambling, there is a huge risk of your investments going to zero. When you go back to our normal investing in stock markets or bonds, or whatever it like might be, there is for the vast majority of companies that are out there, there is only a very, very small possibility that those will go to zero. And some of the larger companies, really, there's almost zero, chance that that will happen. So that is one thing that sets gambling apart, that it is not investing, right? This all or nothing, win or lose, and that's it to it. There's huge amount of risk. Okay. Now, really, if you want to start investing, okay, and you want to get off on a good track, okay, the choice is not to go to sports gambling. If you're going to go to the site and you think it might be fun to do what your friends are doing, and you want to put $100 or $200 into it, do yourself a favor. Fine, put $100 into that. and realize you very likely will not see any of that money back. But take another $100 and put it into an investment for yourself for the long term. Okay. If you want to start doing that, to do something that benefits for yourself, that's what's going to pay off. But the dangers of gambling are out there. A lot of these companies, they're really glamorizing it. They don't tell you the vast majority, if not almost everyone in investing, okay, I'm sorry, in gambling is they lose. You might lose, you might win in the short term, but in the long term, with sports gambling, everyone loses.